Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our regular council meeting of June 13th, 2023. I call the meeting to order. And can we get the approval of the agenda for the June 13th, 2023 regular council meeting? Moved by Councillor Knoll, seconded by Deputy Mayor Slade. Discussion? All in favour? Contrary minded, motion passed. And can we get the adoption of the minutes of the regular council meeting of May 23rd, 2023? Moved by Councillor Doyle, seconded by Councillor O'Grady. Discussion? All in favour? Contrary minded, motion passed. And can we get the adoption of the minutes of the privilege meeting of February 21st, 2023? Moved by Deputy Mayor Slade, seconded by Councillor Snow. Discussion? All in favour? Contrary minded, motion passed. Now?
Yeah, we usually do the ratification, I believe, after the minutes are adopted. Is that correct, Town Clerk? Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what's that for there, guys?
That's to request the investigation into the conflict.
Dysfunction. But I'm thinking Todd here will have to sit in the gallery.
Yes.
Microphone. Yeah. Okay, at this time we'll do a ratification of a motion, I guess, or motion that was in the privilege meeting of February 21st. So because of that, there's some councillors that will have to step out, or can they go in the galley?
Yes.
We're going to go to the galley.
Say why though, right?
No.
No?
Well,
Usually when someone has to step out, they tell why they're in a conflict. Well, that's not accurate.
Yeah, well, I guess you could just know.
I guess they have family members associated with the
Yeah, it was a conflict allegation.
amount of time.
Guys, just a reminder, microphones.
Microphone?
Has your other meeting started yet? 5:30?
Lock the door.
Oh, usually people would open the door and say meeting started.
Yeah.
You can take a seat there, sir, in the back there. Look.
I got my buddy Pete and myself right
Okay.
Your microphone's back.
Yeah, so yeah, you just.
Yeah.
Computer started.
What's that? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to vacate, and I'm going to pass the gavel, or you can take the chair. It doesn't mean no.
you see, okay.
You want to go ahead, Cynthia?
Yes.
We were waiting for the doors to open.
Generally, nobody was oversight not right, so.
Yes, so I guess there was some conflict of interest allegations, so I guess the councillors that had an interest in the allegations are just stepping out into the gallery while the other two councillors are bringing forward, I guess, the decision to complete an investigation that was there. So they'll be doing that resolution now.
If Councillor O'Grady wants to look at slide M in his Dropbox. Whereas conflict of interest complaints against councillors were received under Municipal Conduct Act.
No.
Not that one?
No, under it, we're just ratifying the motion in the February 21st meeting.
Oh, sorry. Resolved to complete an investigation to determine whether the councillors are in a conflict of interest in accordance with Section 7C of the Municipal Conduct Act.
I second that motion. All in favor?
Oh, sorry, all in favor?
And I guess just to clarify, under the new Conduct Act now, as few as two councillors can make a decision now. That's a change in the new act as opposed to the Municipalities Act. Okay.
That's it?
Well, till you get down to 6. So we'll have to do this all again then.
I'd like to welcome our two visitors in the gallery, excuse me, not the galley.
Can you guys speak up so we can hear? Now that we're here in the galley, please? Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, we'll move on to number 5, proclamations, presentations, delegations. There are none. Number 6, permits and correspondence. Councillor Doyle.
This is a lot, and which is very impressive. If you look at the amount of permits that are going out tonight, it's 2 full pages. So I think it's really important that everybody just take, if you haven't already, Councillor Seymour, you are raising your hand. I didn't see anything there for you. There is?
Yeah, he put
Which
on
one there, Councillor?
209. 209, is it?
209, okay, sorry, I didn't realize that.
10236 from you, I know.
10236.
Number 4.
Geez, I missed that one too.
Councillor Seymour's is 10209.
102-209.
10209.
Okay.
And Councillor Noel, you got that one?
It's a lot of permits.
What one is yours, Councillor Noel?
10236.
10236.
Okay,
What's the relationship, Councillor Seymour's?
Brother-in-law?
brother-in-law.
And brother for Councillor, yeah.
Okay, so if everybody's good, I'm going to make a motion approving permit listing 10201 to 10258, omitting 10216, 102-209, and 10236.
Moved by Councillor Dahl.
Sorry, there's another one there that's blank, 10225. Not complete? Okay, so I'm taking that one out too. Okay,
So it was, sorry, it was 10209, 10236, 10, the blank one.
no, and the void one too. There's a void one there, yep. Okay. So yeah, that's the motion.
Moved by Councillor Dahl, seconded by Councillor O'Grady. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed.
Okay,
So now we're going to, which one are you going to deal with
I'll do
next?
102-209 first.
209, Councillor Seymour.
So-
The building?
You don't have to leave the room, you can just go to the, you're gonna leave?
No,
You can just
stay
go to the
here.
gallery. 102, I'll make,
It was only for capital.
Okay, hold on now for 1 second.
It was only for capital.
oh, I thought it was for everything.
Councillor Seymour, I believe
You
you
gotta go.
have to vacate the premise.
It's only for conflict, you can stay.
Yeah, if you're voting.
I'll make a motion to approve permit listing 102-209.
Moved by Councillor Dahl, seconded by Deputy Mayor Slade. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed. Ray, on your way out, can you get, so Councillor Noel is
Yep.
is vacating now, and Councillor Seymour will return.
And I'll make a motion to approve permit listing 10236.
Moved by Councillor Dahl, seconded by Councillor O'Grady. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed.
I just want to draw council's attention also to the fact that currently to date, which is June 13th, which is still very early in the year, the total estimated development is at $5.195 million, which is to me significant. And we've had our largest new housing start in a number of years. As of today, we are up to 12 new houses for the town of Carbonear this year, which is fantastic news.
And it's requiring council's decision. Yeah, he stepped in. Yeah, okay. So do we want to make the motion on this one here at 6.2B? Or is that going to be down further the road?
No, that's the next item on the agenda.
Okay. All right, so Deputy Mayor Slade, Chair of Public Works.
This Valley Road Phase 4, huh?
Is there a motion in that one?
Frank is in contact.
6.2A.
Okay. 6.2A, Stephen F. Penny, Stuart McAlpany. You stay there for 1 second now. And that would be under finance?
No, that's the actual in conflict investigation. 6.2A, that's the investigation, independent investigation report into the conflict complaints. So that's required to be tabled at a public meeting. So I guess the councillors that that move to the gallery can do so again, while the two councillors has to make a decision based on that report. And I just want to point out as well, it does specifically state that with respect to conflict of interest for councillors, you do leave the room in which the meeting is held for the duration of the consideration of the matter. However, notwithstanding that, where the meeting referred to in subsection 1 is open to the public, the councillor may remain in the part of the room set aside for the general public. So even if it's conflict, if it's a public meeting, that has changed since the Municipalities Act. It does specifically say that where we have a gallery, you can stay in the gallery. Okay, so just for future reference.
Does that apply to me there, Cynthia?
Yes, so it's only the two councillors that had no interest in the allegations that were made.
Okay, so that's M, correct?
Yes.
Whereas conflict of interest complaints against councillors were received under the Municipal Conduct Act, and whereas an investigation was ordered in accordance with Section 7C of the Municipal Conduct Act, and whereas the investigation determined that the councillors did not act in a conflict of interest, be it resolved in accordance of Section 10A of the Municipal Conduct Act that the conflict of interest complaints be dismissed. Seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
All right, let's move on to 6.2B. That's the awarding of Phase 4 of Valley Road. And there is a motion there. If the Deputy Mayor has it, you can read it, or the Director of Operations can read it out.
Excuse me, Section 4 ends where? Phase 4, sorry, ends where? That's not in by the school, right? No, nowhere.
Oh,
Yes, it is? Okay.
It doesn't go to the school,
Oh.
but
I may as well bring my seat over there.
It doesn't, it's right up to the overpass, correct?
Deputy
Okay.
Mayor, you can't read out
So
that.
from where it ended to the overpass.
That's
no, according to the new legislation, if you can stay.
3 times. Your record.
Okay, Councillor Doyle?
Regarding Valley Road Water, Sewer, and Street Upgrading 17 GI 220013, whereas the tender call closed with 5 bidders, and whereas the consultant recommends a contract be awarded to Cougar Engineering and Construction, be it resolved to award the contract to Cougar Engineering and Construction for $856,750, including GST.
Okay, the motion's been made by Councillor Doyle, second. Second by Councillor O'Grady. Question? All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion is carried.
What's that? Yes, getting our steps in anyway. Let's move on to 6.3, correspondence received and action taken. You can have a look down through there. Okay, number 7, committee reports, administration and finance. Councillor O'Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The minutes for the Administration and Finance Committee meeting is in your Dropbox. Just a few things I just bring attention to. We are working on, I guess, new fire prevention regulations, so that's, we're still speaking with Municipal Affairs and for a few additional things, we'll be adopting those soon. We're also looking at, I guess, the mandate for any special citizen committees and boards, so we have more on that as well, and we have any volunteers, of course, are required to have, a vulnerable sector check and things prior to serving on any volunteer board, so just let people know that. Record management policy as well, we're working on that. Disposal, we're looking at retention, I guess, of documents before we dispose of them, so. And the strategic plan, we're going to have a launch. We're just working on a date now, so we'll have a public launch of the strategic plan that's ready to be issued to the public. So we'll get a date on that shortly, and we'll put it on our website. Council will update property tax. We're at 81% collected right now. Water and sewer are at 78%, and the business tax 84%. So tax are coming in, but there's still some overdues, obviously. We finally got our audited financial statements from our auditors for the December 31st, 2021. So I have a motion on those. The statements are in your Dropbox as well. So the motion is resolved to adopt the 2021 audited financial statements for the town of Carbonear and entities as prepared by Byron Smith, CPA.
Moved by Councillor O'Grady, seconded by Councillor Doyle. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed.
And that's all I have for the for that meeting. There was another meeting as well. You noticed those minutes are there. That was a special meeting on June the 8th, so that's nothing there to discuss in public, I guess, but you can read the minutes of that meeting in your Dropbox as well. So that's it for me.
Any questions or comments for Councillor O'Grady? Thank you, sir. Let's move on to 7B, Public Works, Waste Management, and Community Services. Deputy Mayor Slade.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report is there in your Dropbox. You can peruse through that. Anything that you see there that you might have some questions on, please feel free to do so. I have one motion. Resolved that the town of Carbonear install a new street light in the area of 39 D'Iberville Street in accordance with the street light policy.
Before you continue, there may be a conflict of interest here for Councillor Doyle.
I'm at number 5, D'Iberville, so I'm on the way other end of the street, and it's a street light, but I am going to ask the question, am I in conflict on the installation of a street light at 39 D'Iberville?
My son lives there as well, but like I say, he's on one end, this is on the other. It's a street light, so it's up.
Question
Mr.
has been
Mayor.
asked. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I deem those people not to be in conflict. I mean, just because you live on the street, that don't reflect anything in this case.
Seconded by Councillor Noel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion passed. We did 2 of those at the same time. Councillor O'Grady and Councillor Doyle. Okay, so you go ahead. Did you finish your motion? Okay.
Okay.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Slade and seconded by Councillor Noel. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion passed.
And that's it for me, Mr. Mayor, at this time.
I do have a question regarding our streetlight policy. If we're putting in new streets and this and we know that they need streetlights, like, is the process, again, not too complicated? Like, shouldn't that just be like a little bit of, you know what I mean? Like what we do when we put in new streets and new poles go up, shouldn't the streetlights just automatically go there and it not have to be an application and a process in order for that to happen?
CEO?
It typically wouldn't, like, that would typically be something that would be done through, like, the developer of that street, like, once the street was complete, or, you know, once that work was done. So, I'm not sure if there's a specific situation. If it is, we can chat about it after, but.
Just know with this particular situation, I had received 3 different calls from 3 different people wanting to know how come there was no street light. And you know, if there's a pole going up and it's not the second pole, then to me, like, a light should just go on it as per our policy. So I don't know why, like I think in this case, the residents themselves had to do an application in order for the street light to go up there. But like, shouldn't that just be a part of, you know, if Newfoundland Power is putting up a pole and it's not the second pole, you know, or it's every second pole, then shouldn't the light just add, like, I'm just wondering why this has to be so complicated.
Well, we do have a policy that was adopted by council that we have to follow, but again, I'm not sure of this situation. Like, typically, sometimes as part of a street development, and, you know, it has to be in accordance with the town's regulations, but that would be, like, sometimes shown on the, you know, as part of the whole development, where the street lights and that would be going. So unless it didn't go right up to the end at the time, I don't know. I'd have to look into it first.
Okay, so could we look at could that go back to Public Works to look at the specific policy, just to see if there's a way to make this easier, so that, like, you know, it's just done? If the pole goes up and there's no light, then there's a light goes on it, kind of thing.
Well, can't necessarily do that, because it's going to depend on the situation. We'd have to ensure. But if it's part of a new street, it should be. Now, unless there's something overlooked in this case, I don't know. I'd have to look into it further. It's hard to say for sure without, you know, looking into it. But typically with the streetlight policy, it's not usually as part of new streets, as if, you know, it's situations where we have existing streets and there's existing poles, but, you know, there may be a situation where an area is dark and is discovered that, per our policy, that, you know, another street light can be permitted there. But again, a request has to be made in writing, so we have a form for people to put in that, so we know exactly what it is they're looking for, and then somebody can go out and investigate, right?
It's good to have a little paper trail as well.
Yes,
If we're going to be paying a
exactly.
monthly bill on it, of course.
Yeah, but again, it shouldn't be an issue when you have a new street where these should be identified in the overall plan. But now, we'd have to look into it further and see if that was done in this case.
Any further questions or comments for Deputy Mayor? Thank you, sir. We'll move on to 7C, Development.
Development Committee met on June 8th. Under business arising, we have a number of different motions that are coming forward in a second. We have a number of development applications, so there's a number of motions coming forward with the development applications. We had some correspondence regarding a property, and they wanted to know the zoning for that street. We had an MEO, we didn't have an MEO report, and we also have a variance coming through under new business. Under economic development, we had the YOLO proposal, and it says the EDTO is going to update us on that. We recently released a tourism video on the town's social media. I don't know if you've all seen it. It's, you know, it shares a lot of great stuff about our town. We're looking for ways to further share those videos so that it reaches more people and hopefully attracts people to come to the town of Carbonear and area to, you know, shop and eat and get coffee and buy donuts and all that good stuff. under ongoing items, we have the municipal plan, of course, as you know, is ongoing. Most of us have already submitted stuff for that. And we have quite a few development applications that are pending and some business applications that are pending. So we did try to narrow that down a little bit and get some updates just to see where things are, if people are proceeding, if they're withdrawing their applications, if they're still waiting on things themselves from different organizations and stuff like that. So we're still waiting on for stuff from there. So I have a lot of motions here. Okay, so am I doing all of these separately or just the first one? Okay. Resolve to approve, so I'll do all of them and then I'll come back to the first
What
one.
number is that on? Guys, I can't seem to find
That's
that.
under 8A.
Got it.
Okay, resolve to approve the following applications in accordance with applications submitted, the Town of Carbonear Municipal Plan, and development regulations and other conditions as specified. To approve the Crown Land referral for a grant, lot 95064, Line Road, from the Department of Fisheries, Forestry, and Agriculture, Crown Lands Division. To construct a shed at 20 Blueberry Crescent, conditional on no objections or representations being received from the discretionary use advertisement for the shed, and further conditional upon the application being referred to the committee and council for further review if objections are received in response to the discretionary notice. To construct a commercial building, the shell only, Phase 2 of the project at 1 to 5 Merchant Drive, conditional upon obtaining applicable approvals from the Department of Digital Government and Service NL and/or other applicable government and department agencies. To construct a garage at 66 Forest Road, conditional upon no objections or representations being received from the discretionary use advertisement for the garage, and further conditional upon the application being referred to the committee and council for further review if objections are received in response to the discretionary notice. And finally, to replace a front deck at 21 Chapel Street per Section 10 discretionary powers of council.
Moved by Councillor Doyle, seconded by Councillor Noel. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed.
Okay. To construct a 21-unit apartment complex at 21 Crowdy Street, conditional upon obtaining applicable approvals from the Department of Digital Government and Service NL and other applicable government departments and agencies.
Moved by Councillor Doyle, seconded by Councillor O'Grady. Discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Snow.
I have a couple of concerns about that development. I certainly consider myself to be very pro-development. I want to see as many buildings and, in the town of Carbonear as possible. But with regards to, I have 3 or 4 issues that I'd just like to get a little more information, so I'll be making a motion to place on the table until we've had a closer look at this particular development. With regards to garbage, there's going to be 21 units there. You know, if it's going to be just one communal garbage bin there, the neighbor that's closest to that, they're going to have could possibly have quite a smell from that. And my own personal experience with these places, when you have just one spot and a lot of people having to go there and place their garbage in one spot, they kind of sometimes like to play basketball with the bag of garbage. They just lob it. If it breaks, they scatter. They don't stay there and clean it up. And if you have all the garbage in one place, it's going to be a tremendous attraction for rats and gulls and crows and everything else. If the proponent is going to have curbside pickup for all 21 units, I think that would be a better fit for the neighbors and for the residents that would be staying in that development.
Do we know what they're having? Or?
Well, that's why I made the motion to place this on the table so that we can answer some of these questions. I'm sure the developer would be happy to do that. The second concern I had was with regards to snow removal and snow clearing. If it's a private development and, you know, it's February, you're having a snowstorm and there's a fire in that area, you know, chances are a private a private snowplow operator's contract to do that's probably not going to have to do it, so we're going to have to send in our own town plow. We're not going to let the place burn down. So our firemen are going in there in a truck in their own plow, who's not used to plowing that particular development. So that could cause some issues, and I don't know even the legal ramifications if our own plow went in there and had an accident, you know? Also, on fire protection, you know, we looked at the drawings, we didn't see if there's going to be a hydrant in that area. There's going to be a fair number of people living in there in 21 units, 4-bedroom and 3-bedroom houses. So I know there's probably fire hydrants in the vicinity, but is one needed in the area? We've got no plans there. We didn't see any of the underground infrastructure that's going to be needed for that development. Sidewalks again, from what I've seen, there's no sidewalks, so, you know, the little children that are going to be living in that development area, they'll have to, I guess, walk on the road or on the grass on the side. That one kind of worries me a little. I wouldn't want to have it on my conscience if there's an accident and someone's fatally hurt there. And drainage in the southern part, it's quite boggy there by the Legion, and there's a lot of water there. Again, we've seen no plans for any type of drains or anything, and I'm sure the developer will look at that. He has more at stake than anyone else, so he'd want to take care of any water problems. So, you know, it's just all these questions and no information.
Yeah, they seem to be legitimate concerns. Is there anyone, Director of Operations, have you got any answers to those?
Well, I'm not sure if there's any other councillors want to speak, but I mean, we reviewed this for the regulations, the development regulations, and there were some issues that we worked out with them early on in the process with respect to
Any plans shown on that?
But you know, after reviewing the plans and comparing with the regulations, and we made recommendations to move forward with it.
What about the garbage concerns? Was that addressed, or?
Well, there's a complex in the town that has 22 units that, I guess, but I mean, again, this is totally up to council if they want to have further review, but there is a 22-unit complex in the town that does have their own on-site collection, and I guess they do their own snow clearing of their lot. So, you know, we haven't, I guess, had issues with that particular place, so we would assume it would be similar for this one. But again, I guess it's not something that you know, but again, this other one has been in place for many, many years, and they haven't had issues. But again, I can't say that's not going to be the case in this new development. But we would typically treat it the same as, you know, the other complex.
So assume that if there would be issues with garbage, then the developer or the owner is treated like every other property in the town, and that's followed up on by municipal enforcement, and not, you know, like, not assuming, like, it's hard for us to say, oh, in 5 years, someone's going to put a bag of garbage out and a gull's going to rip it up, and, you know, like, that's a little bit, you know, I don't know, I find that a bit hard to just rationalize. With respect to the snow clearing and the garbage, that is the responsibility of the developer of this project, much as the same as the complex we have, the two different complexes that we have on Saddle Hill, the personal care home and the apartment building. Further to that, there has been significant upgrades, correct me if I'm wrong, Director of Operations. There was extensive water, sewer changes and investments made there so that this development now ties into the new Water Street project, so that there won't be any issues there. For anybody who went to the development plan review, the number one challenge facing the town of Carbonear right now is housing. There is nowhere to live. In the past 7 days alone, I have tried valiantly to find housing accommodations for 3 families from the Philippines who were coming here to work at Carbonear Hospital and the food industry up along Columbus Drive. There is nowhere to rent here. So if this is the town that says you're welcome, we need to start providing housing for people to come in to stay in here. And if there are further issues with the development, then we deal with them through our enforcement after, if there's issues with garbage and all the rest of it. However, like, I think that this particular developer is quite eager, you know, to get started, and once he gets started, you know, if there's issues continuing with any of this, then you problem solve them with the developer, you know, at the time. But like, this is June 13th, this is a critical time of the year, so if we're gonna put this off another 2 weeks or a month, like, this might not happen, and then that's 22 units that are beautiful housing units from the plans that I've seen. Every single one of them has an attached garage. I mean, they're gorgeous. And if we're gonna, you know, put this off or delay this, then, you know, like, that, I find that very unfortunate. And I just speak, you know, as I see it.
Anyone else like to address Councillor Snow's concerns? Councillor
You
O'Grady?
know, I can just, you know, concur with what Councillor Dahl said, right? I mean, we're desperate for housing, and this is a nice development. We already have a similar development, like I said,
I
on
don't
Saddle
think
Hill.
you're disputing that. He's disputing, you're just bringing to attention some issues that
Yeah.
he hasn't seen no material evidence, I guess, that's going to be
Yeah.
taken care of. Have you finished your, Councillor O'Grady?
No, that's all I was gonna say. I mean, it's, you know, I think that, like Councillor Dahl said, that he wants to start this. We can't delay this any longer. We've been talking about it now for, you know, we distributed to all the council, everyone has seen the plans. We haven't heard any feedback back, so, I mean, we need to get moving on it, right?
Councillor Seymour?
I'm going to say that I somewhat agree with Councillor Snow, because, yes, when I worked with the Public Works Committee, we looked at a lot of different variation. I asked questions there. Number one, I asked about green spaces and everything that is supposed to be on the Municipalities Act now. We're supposed to have green spaces when we develop and everything. None of that's involved there. Sidewalks, carb, like that, there's nothing involved. Garbage is a big issue. I'm dealing with garbage here in Carbonear right now myself personally, knowing that we're going to work, and I do want to make sure that garbage is a proper thing that we deal with. An issue with rats and everything in this town right now, I'm on live, and people are going to know, we have an issue with this in Carbonear, and we need to develop something to make sure that we control this situation. And one of the questions that the gentleman just asked, and you guys are on together on the Development Committee, he's on there with us, and I see that he asked a question, and I do agree with the question that he's asking. And I think we should look deeply into it and make sure that we're going to get every aspect of everything we need to get out of this. And I got nothing against that gentleman, whoever, man, woman, company, whatever this is. I do say that for the sake of what he's talking about, if we look at the developer and give us, hey, guaranteed that this is going to work, this is going to happen, I can understand where he's coming from. But we need to make sure this time, when no matter how many developments come here, I want to see everything happen in Carbonear. I want to see this place flourished. But we need to make sure we do it right. Were you talking about MEO, municipal enforcement? Hey, that's a word for itself.
Councillor Noel?
No, again, I hear everybody's concerns there, but the construction time in this season is upon us, no doubt about that. These are rental units. If somebody had a major concern with how the garbage was going to be taken care of, I guess they could say, well, I'm not going to rent one of these units, or if I think it's unsafe for my child to walk the side of the road, they can move somewhere else. I think some of this is just having a discussion with the developer. I think most of us know who this developer is. It's great to have these people around the town who are building our town, and I don't think it's worth hanging up a construction over a couple of concerns, and all due respect to the concerns that our councillor has there. But I think we should get this moving as quickly as we can and engage in some of these conversations. It's unfortunate they didn't happen prior to this. But anyway, I think they can be addressed and we can move on with this development.
I just want to go back to one further point. This is a private development. So there are different criteria that if a street is being turned over to the road and if a developer is maintaining that road himself. So he's not under the same mandate that people who are building subdivisions to put in sidewalks and stuff. That's up to the developer. Now, this developer may put them in, I don't know. There are green spaces. If you've looked in your drop boxes, there are green spaces in this development. Yeah, there's green spaces there. Correct me if I'm wrong. Director of Operations, there are green spaces there.
The side yards and the rear yards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything meets the criteria. In it,
Requirements are being met as well as the building line setback. Those spaces are-
I think there might be a little bit of confusion too. Our municipal plan development regulations, the requests, the requirement for green spaces is with respect to like a new street development, like for a full subdivision where you have, that's where there's a percentage that's required. This is just an
Complex.
apartment complex, so that is not required in your development regs, just for clarification.
And further to the garbage issue, this developer also owns significant current rental property in the town. They own a series of senior citizens. I don't know if it's senior citizens or if it's 50 plus. I'm not really sure which ones they own. They also have a fast food establishment over on the Columbus Drive, and I followed up with the municipal enforcement officer before he left, and there has not been one single complaint about any of their current and existing properties filed with the town. So,
Yes, Mr. Mayor, of course, there's always nice to see development in the town of Carbonear. And all due respect to Councillor Snow, I know where he's coming from. But having said that, the season is here to start building. When we talk about garbage and that, with the possibility of garbage and that around this particular unit, I'm pretty sure people are not going to come into the town of Carbonear, put up big, beautiful buildings, and then let them go in a dilapidated state. I don't think so. So, anyway, that's where I'm to on it. I think we need to move forward on it, and we need to do it in a proper manner.
there's a motion already on the table. Chris
Yeah.
seconded it.
We're discussing here now. Okay. All in favor?
Mr. Mayor, if I can, I'll still make the motion to place on the table. I don't know if I can get a seconder here.
There's a motion on the table, so this
How does that
one's
work?
got to
That
be
doesn't work
voted
out,
on
does it?
before there can be.
I don't know, I'd have to go and find.
Cross that for-
I'd have to go out and find the.
Can I speak out? I just want one more thing to say. Like, we met as a council, we had a meeting and we discussed all this. And any councillor who had any questions or anything like that had the opportunity at that time also to reach out to the Director of Operations, the CAO, to seek further information from the developer. And I'm not sure whether or not any of that happened, but I mean, that was 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Like, we've been talking about this for, I don't know, 6 weeks, I think.
No.
Yeah.
So.
I did ask those questions, but those answers were never brought forward.
Did you email in writing, or? I put everything in writing.
You know.
So basically,
I-
it refers to
We're just gonna-
temporary postponement or deferring of the motion, so.
I guess you would have to vote on whether it could be deferred.
First,
Before,
we vote
and
on
if
it.
that fails,
Then we move
then you
forward.
could vote
Go
on the
from-
original motion.
Yes. So the subsidiary motion can be made
Yeah.
prior to the initial motion, is my understanding.
It's going to be killed anyway.
All right, so the motion is going to be.
Yeah, I'll let it go, right?
Okay. We have a motion from Councillor Snow to,
Place
I
on the
guess,
table.
table this until further answers are given to his concerns, I guess. Can we get a seconder for that?
I'll second, sir.
Second by Councillor Seymour. Discussion on that.
If, I'll be very sad if we lose a 21 development.
Well, that's fine, but any discussion on this motion, that's not.
Over this.
Yeah.
That's my comment. That's my discussion.
Councillor Noel?
I don't know if I'm just going to repeat myself here, but I think those the items that have been brought forward, and I appreciate the fact that new information could have came to council. They could have gotten some, a bit of delay in getting the responses. From what I get, I don't know if it was reached out to the developer for this, but I don't see any need of delaying this development. I think we can work with these concurrently as this plan gets developed, this complex.
All in favor of Councillor Snow's motion? Against? Motion defeated. 2, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay, we'll go back to our original motion now of approval of the permit for 21 unit, whatever it is.
Complex.
All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion passed. 5 in favor, 2 against.
Okay. I'm just second guessing myself now because I thought there was another one with a variance. Yeah, no, but I thought there was an additional one. I thought there was 2 in the minutes, but I might be dreaming.
There were 2 discretionary.
Okay, that's,
And then
okay,
there's
yeah,
full variance.
that's where, sorry, I was getting confused. To vary the building line setback from 8 meters to 7.2 meters at 3 Canada Place, conditional upon no objections to the variance notice, and further conditional upon no objections being received by the neighboring property owners by the deadline provided, and further conditional upon the application being referred to the committee and council for further review if objections are received in response to the variance notice.
And Mr. Mayor, that should be resolved to vary the building. It's just not at the beginning.
No, no.
Moved by Councillor Doyle, seconded by Councillor No. All in favor? Or discussion, I should say. All in favor? Motion passed. Is that your report? Let's move on to 7D, Recreation, Special Events, Culture and Tourism.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. As you can see, my report is there. We had a short meeting just back in, what was that, May the 30th. We have a lot of things ongoing in the recreation the report, but nothing is cured up yet. We got some tenders going out there and all the other things being done. Some reports, and hopefully this meeting coming up actually tomorrow. I'll be able to notify you in the next meeting, probably therefore we're moving along in different areas of what we're doing for the summer. Again, it's my report, and thank you very kindly.
I do. It says there that the pergola landscaping should be completed by mid-June. I know we've had crappy weather, but it's June 30th. I've noticed that out there on the side, there by the theater, that landscaping is not done. There's an area in front of the pool where, it just feels like it's been forgotten about over the years. There's some trees there, and there's some tulips coming up. There's no mulch. Part of the curb is missing. I think that might be on maintenance and stuff like that. So I know the weather's been crappy, but should we anticipate, is there a new deadline of when this is going to be done or anything like that?
Well, it's in the hands of we have obviously a landscape consultant that's taking care of this
Okay.
for us, and he's just going to identify because of the weather and the temperatures, I guess, what's suitable time to do this, is my understanding.
Okay, and then I had another question. It said community garden material to replace the 24 beds has been ordered. My understanding was that this was supposed to be done over the winter so that the beds would be in place for the growing season in, like, now. You know what I mean? Like, this is the time, you need the beds there now to plant the stuff in order for it to grow, so the materials are ordered. I'm assuming now the beds also have to be made. So is this not a this year thing now? Is this going to be a next year thing? Like, what's the status on that?
The beds are already made. There's 36 of them up there. Do you have exact? Just that the materials I bought to reinforce them to make them new. What has happened is they deteriorated over the few years that we've had them, but now we've got the material. The material is up there, and from what I know, Director of Operations in Recreation said that there a while ago that these men would be, I think it was last week, would be coming out there and getting the material from some complex. I don't know where exactly, but I know that he came back with the price. Everything was okay to go ahead, and because what'll happen is we're going to put metal there. Because what'll happen is if we put wood there 10 years down the road, we're going to have to do the same thing and the same thing. So this time we're going to put metal there and make sure that it did right, and therefore it'll last for a long time.
Okay.
I know that the scoreboards are not up.
Scoreboards is,
Do they work?
that is it. That
I
is
have-
the thing that we've got to be, how would I put it? The Director of Recreation has been speaking to such and such and such and such, so we're going to look into that as of this meeting coming tomorrow. We got a meeting for Recreation tomorrow, and there's been a little bit of a discussion that we need to follow, and we'll talk about it tomorrow, and hopefully within the next week, because we're supposed to be putting it out on tender.
Yeah, actually, that will be brought forward now at your committee meeting. There is a quote to
Yes.
To install, because it's not just to install, there has to be foundations and posts installed. But, so it took a while, I guess, reaching out to try to get somebody to do the work. So there is a quote now that's going through the next committee for approval to move forward. No, well, there was, based on the type of work, I guess the expertise was deemed not to be, we didn't have, the town staff didn't have the expertise to do what needed to be done based on the recommended, I guess, installation instructions.
At 9:30 tomorrow morning. I'm hoping that, I don't know, all of us will be there because I'd like to be able to ask a question tomorrow, and there'll be further detail after that. But today you can't get in, I'm not open to a discussion as today, but thank you.
Any further questions or comments?
I just had a quick question there. I noticed there's, you got, on a new business, you're appointing 2 members to the Recreation Commission. No motion, the council required to appoint those members?
They're still getting paperwork, I think.
Okay.
We haven't had a meeting, so they're still getting
So I
paperwork.
just saw 'em there. I
Yep.
didn't- thought
There is a Recreation Commission event this weekend, but it's at my school, so I don't know if I'm in conflict on that or not. But if someone else could mention it, that would be, if someone else could mention it. It should have been, it wasn't in the minutes for Recreation. Okay.
Councillor,
A new,
You have it to Randy's room?
Yes. Can you'll mention that? Okay, thank you.
Councillor Seymour, if I may, Mr. Mayor, I won't be to the meeting tomorrow morning, 9:30, due to work commitments.
no problem, sir. Thank you.
Councillor Snow.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you can check with the Director of Recreation about the fence for the tennis court, the westerly one. It was taken down, I think, when they built the 2 ice surfaces, but it should be put back there now. Anyone trying to play tennis, the ball is just, you're spending, all the time just chasing after the ball. And also, the lights seem to be on very early, if you can check on that for the ice rinks. Like, you go in 6 o'clock today, now those lights are probably blaring away. I don't know if there's another system that we can put in place for those lights, some type of timer, or a better job of having them on when they're needed, as opposed to all the time, right? Because I get people telling me all the time, why are those lights in there blaring in the middle of the day, right?
But if I can remember correctly, those lights are on the timer?
It just should be just adjustment.
Yeah. Yeah, those lights are on the timer, and when it comes to the fence, we've discussed that in our meeting about the fence not being on a certain, but from what I've been told, there was never a fence there on that side in the beginning.
A tennis court, no fence.
No.
I think it was all.
The zoning part of the tennis court was back, but there was never nothing on the sides, from what I was told. So, and there was never none there in the beginning, so.
So there's none needed.
Them questions has been arose.
I just find it funny, if you're a tennis player, you have 3 fences on one side.
But again, you've asked.
And I raise those questions because I had concerns from people who play tennis, saying they can't go in there and play a proper game of tennis because they're chasing the ball. So, it's not me, I'm not the tennis player.
Improve your sport, that's all.
What?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
But these questions have been asked, it's been documented as we speak,
Okay.
and they'll be brought up in the next council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on. Number 8, the reports up to CAO.
Okay, refer to number 10 there in your Dropbox. That's item number 10. I'm just going to, the report's been distributed to everybody, so you all have a copy. Just a couple of things I'll bring to your attention. The last meeting, the tax revenue levied was somewhat below budgeted tax revenue, but as you can see now, with additional levies that have taken place, levied revenue is basically on par with what we budgeted. With respect to the departmental expenses, everything is within budget to date. We've only got 21% spent of our total budget. So you'll see, I guess, more that'll increase now throughout the summer between recreation activities and public works. Usually spend bigger portions of the budget during the summer months. So, but like I said, you can review, and anytime over the next few days, feel free. If you got any questions, you can contact me.
Any questions for CAO? Thank you. Let's move on to Director of Operations and Public Works, Mr. Farrell.
Thanks very much. Happy January, everybody. The weather being such as it is, we've been out trying to fill potholes and do the paint work. And again, it's really weather depending. Also the road grading and the gravel roads. When we do get nice days, we get at those activities. Otherwise, we're addressing service requests and hydrant flushing, valve vasculine, that type of work. For capital works, I got a few updates here. Water Street Phase 3, we've fully executed a prime consultant agreement with the consultant for that one, so that's going to be starting the design activity soon. Valley Road Phase 4, we awarded the contract to a contractor tonight. So that one's going to be moving forward. Adelaide Phase 2, most of that design is complete. Permitting has been applied for through the OEC, and we're getting ready to do those public consultations. We had a limited call out for water system vulnerability study. We didn't get any bids for that one, so we're currently looking at alternatives. Grassy Lane, the design work is underway for that project. And Adelaide Phase 1, that construction is underway. The 2022 paving program, construction has resumed, and that's underway. And I think that's everything. Powell Drive, construction has resumed also. So yeah, that's where we are with our capital projects right now. And it's trying to work. Thank you.
Any questions for the Director of Operations?
Just had a good question there.
Councillor O'Grady?
I was asked today about Water Street Phase 2, when the paving will be done, Water Street Phase I told him I assume would be the fall. Am I correct in that assumption that?
I believe their schedule is August,
August, okay,
but don't quote me on that.
okay.
And we did have some.
Oh, you just
Yeah.
did. You just quoted yourself on it.
Yeah. We did have some setbacks early in that
Okay,
project, so
that's
we
good.
pushed back a bit. And I believe the schedule for that specific project is to do the second lift of asphalt in the spring.
Okay,
But the goal is to get a lift in this year.
okay, it's good, thank you.
Councillor Snow?
I was just wondering about the section of Valley Road where we had problems with water buildup. I know it's gone to some type of arbitration. I wonder, is there any type of an update that you could give us on that?
CAO and I had a meeting on that today, is just following the process. So it starts off with written submissions, and then it's like a Q&A type session. So we did that today, and they have to give us their feedback or their decision. I think it's 10 days.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Let's move on now to operating invoices over $2,000. Councillor O'Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The invoice listing is there in your Dropbox, so resolve to approve operating invoices over $2,000 in the amount of $181,667.76.
Moved by Councillor O'Grady, seconded by Councillor Seymour. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed.
And we have one capital invoice, which is for Adelaide Street Phase 1, so we have some people, or do we have? We keep asking every week. We keep asking
Phase
every week
1.
where that one ends. So that one ends at the crossroads, correct?
That'd be Councillor Snow.
Councillor Snow's sister lives in that area. What's that? I think I'm okay, right? Yeah. Mine is past that.
Yes, stay, enjoy it.
Okay. So resolve to approve water and sewer street upgrading Adelaide Street Phase 1 Harrison Associates invoice number 7042 in the amount of $7,779.75.
Moved by Councillor O'Grady, seconded by Deputy Mayor Slade. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion passed.
That's it for me, sir.
Okay. Move on, number 10, 11, 12. Okay, I just wanted to let you guys know that I attended the Town of Torbay Tulip Festival on Sunday, June the 11th. I think they planted 8,600 tulips around their town. I think Bay Roberts had 30 or 40,000, I believe. So maybe we could touch base with these guys and see if we can probably get a few more. I know we had some already. I'm not sure how many we had.
7,500.
7,500? Yeah. They're coming up. I also attended the 589 Year Cadet Banquet on May 28, 2023 at the Royal Canadian Legion. It was in conjunction with the RCSC Biotic Sea Cadets. Unfortunately, they folded that night, so hopefully that someone will come along and pick it up there and bring it back to where it was years ago. Also, the Enviro Fest from Newfoundland Power took place for St. Vincent de Paul Society at, I think it was Friday. And I'm not sure what the amount was, $2,500 I believe they were awarded. So I was invited to go up there, and it was well attended. They had a lot of workers from Newfoundland Power there, and like I said, when you got a lot of people come in there, they just come in and get the work done. And what's going to happen is that some of the food that they grow at the society will be used to give out to the those that are in need. And also, June is participation month, so you got to download your app and count your steps. I guess the director of recreation may be able to give more insight on that, or maybe the DTO could post something out there to encourage people to download the app and step in the right direction. What's that? Yeah. Also, June 17th, which is Saturday, is the annual Randy's Run, and that starts at 9 a.m. At the, I guess, the Carbonear complex. And as we know, or may know, Randy was a teacher at the CC and a resident of Carbonear, and him and his fellow co-worker were tragically killed several years ago. So I wanted to keep his memory alive, keep going. And also on June the 22nd, Thursday, the Carbonear Collegian will be having their motorcade to recognize the graduating class of 2023. The motorcade ends at the public gardens, and there's going to be a walk around at the George W. Earl Promenade. So if anyone's around 6:45 that evening, just get around the boardwalk, watch the graduates walk by with their friends, and just show our support to them. And our next meeting will be at the College Chair, and I don't, that's not determined yet, so I will.
We have another meeting in June.
God, I thought we were gone to the.
Can we actually have some idea of when our July and August meetings are?
Oh, we do every year.
At the
Yeah.
next meeting, okay.
I was going to ask though if that meeting could be deferred to Wednesday, because that Monday is a staff holiday.
That was the holiday that I was
And it
thinking
makes
about, yeah.
it, easier on the admin staff to prepare for it.
Yes, I get that, Chair.
So
Yeah.
would that be a possibility? Does anybody have a problem?
Yeah, so the town clerk mentioned that the 26th is a public, provincial holiday for, well,
So normally our meeting would be on the 27th. Normally our meeting would be on the 27th, wondering if the 28th would be fine.
it's fine with me, but we need a motion from council. Moved by Councillor Noel, second by Councillor Snow, that the meeting of June 26th will be moved to June 27th. Same time.
28th.
Oh, whatever.
So next
No, 27 moved to 28.
We're going to motion to adjourn. Our next meeting will be on Wednesday, June 28th, right?
So we're going to change it first to a motion.
Well, that's.
We need a motion to change it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All in favor?
I won't be able to make it, but I'll vote anyway.
What's that?
I won't be able to make it on the 28th, but
That's okay.
No, we don't have to if
You're
you're.
No,
available
it's-
on Tuesday though, are you?
I'm, that's fine. I mightn't be able to make it on 27th either, but we'll see.
Oh, okay. All right, I thought, I didn't want to be.
No, okay, so we're, all in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed. And also, I was remiss in not mentioning that Wednesday, June 21st, 2023 is Pride Flag Raising at 12 p.m. at the Civic Center right behind me here. So what's that?
Perla Park.
Oh, got changed to the Perliger Park, okay.
That's the Canadian flag there now, right? That's what I'm.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, okay. So if anyone's around on that date, by all means, drop around and show your support. Moved by Deputy Mayor Slade, second by Councillor Seymour. Meeting adjourned.